What's up, guys? It's your boy back at ya from Gorilla Team Tutors, GT Tutors for short. And here I have a template, a breakdown on how to turn your B level, A minus level Eulogy and crack into that A level. Smack it, maybe even get an A plus. I have two breakdowns from previous years. I have an A level breakdown from Bill Bingham, and I have an A plus breakdown from Isaac Hiller, two OP1 students. And we're going to be using the strategies that we learn in this A plus and A level Eulogy breakdown, and we're going to put it on my B plus level essay that I wrote in 30 minutes. Check that video, it's in the description. Sick, by the way. So I'm going to use those strategies that we learn in these A plus level essays, and we're going to put that onto our B plus level essay here and move it on up and get into that A plus territory. Basically, to help show you guys exactly how you can do it. So it's actually a lot easier than you might think. It basically we've broken down multiple A level and A plus level essays for eulogies rather, and we've found the consistent thing in these eulogies is having multiple allegories, two, and weaving these two allegories into the eulogy from your character's perspective that explain some of the plot points. And I'll explain that in further detail. So just a quick, it looks a bit confusing now, but I'll break it down for you. A bold is an allegory, and an allegory is an extended metaphor. An extended metaphor isn't just saying a one-off line. What you do is you create a metaphor and then you sprinkle that same metaphor from your introduction and then you sprinkle it into your first paragraph. Then you sprinkle a little bit into your second paragraph. For example, Bill's eulogy, his two allegories were God, so the blessed Paul, right here, and his second allegory was Achilles. Now, he doesn't just stop it there, like I do. I, in my B plus level, mention Achilles once, but never again do I mention Achilles. So it's not an allegory at this point, it's only a metaphor. To turn it into an allegory, I would have to mention Achilles in this paragraph, in this paragraph, in this paragraph, relevant to the plot. Weave it in nicely. And that would get you around an A minus. Now, to get to that next level, to get to that A plus level, you need to create two allegories. And that's what Bill did as well with God. And as you can see, he mentions God in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, even in his third paragraph as well. And also in his introduction. So as you can see, it creates a really cohesive essay. When it ties together, it feels really holistic. Instead of it being fragmented like a B plus level eulogy this is almost like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate paragraphs. But you can see these A level essays feel more like it's just one whole speech. And the key is with these allegories. So let me break it down very specifically for you. So here, I'll teach you here how to weave the allegories in with the underline, and I'll show the difference between an A level and an A plus level very shortly. So here we go. Just remember Achilles' heel and God. Othello, my commander, initially a lone soldier, a mercenary with no allegiance. You were never afforded a chance to lower your guard. Evidence. Evidence. As you strode into battle as the leader of the Venetian army, your presence was unsurpassed. Evidence. Evidence is just plot points. You don't need to read the book to get plot points. Just read a summary. When I was unbecoming as your deputy, you taught me the value of vigilance and caution in leadership. Evidence. Plot point. Referencing when he was sacked as lieutenant. Then he brings up his first or his second allegory, his Venetian Achilles. So he only did it once, but it creates a holistic feeling within the essay. It makes you feel like they're not separate paragraphs. It's more like a whole sort of speech. It just sounds like you've tried to tie in your whole essay together. The Turks were left ruined in your wake. Evidence. And in doing so, you became God's foot soldier. So now he's weaving in his first allegory here. Your love for every Christian soul saw you, the man with no allegiance. Redacted. So as you can see, he's using evidence and he's using allegories, metaphors, extended out throughout the entire essay in this paragraph very well. Now, his second one. Othello, my inspiration. You entered society as a Moor, an outsider with heathen roots and Muslim blood. Evidence. Despite this, you walked along the path of the light and embraced God's plan for you. Oh, sounds like Blessed Paul. The Christian allegory coming out again. Mentions it again. God walks amongst us. Mentions it again. God's word. Mentions it again. God's love pressed into Venice's grateful service. So I hope this is making sense. It's very clear how Bill used these two allegories. He didn't just state the evidence, or the plot point from the character's perspective and leave it at that. Every time he mentions a piece of evidence, he goes back to his allegory, he goes back to his metaphor, and then he finds a way to cleverly use that metaphor to explain the evidence. That is the key. That is the consistent thing that these A-level eulogies do differently from these B-level eulogies, after breaking down multiple B and A level and then juxtaposing and comparing and contrasting at GT Tutors, which is what we do for every assignment that you guys will need. Of course, we'll get to this last paragraph. You have lived an honorable life despite your humble beginnings, and you will never again bear the shackles of your slavery. Evidence, nor the sharp pain of the blade you embraced in death. While also mentioning God again. Now, I just want to say this is only the A level. So now we're going to see the difference between the A level and the A plus level. So for those of you who want to try and move your A level assignment onto that A+ level, this is how you do it. Now, this one's by Isaac Hiller. He's done a spectacular job. And he said, this assignment was the epitome of not well written, but the allegories pushed it over the edge. So, without the allegories, it would have been a B+ in the writing. He said the writing was terrible in his, compared to Bill's at least, but Bill only got an A, and Isaac got an A+. So how did he manage that? Well, let's see here. On a cold winter's night, as other animals hide away, afraid of their mortality, the phoenix soars through the sky, her wings ablaze. Now, that's his first allegory. Just boom, from the start, mentions it. That's what you want to do with yours. From the start, bring it in. Today, we gather here to mourn the passing of a woman emblematic of the phoenix, Amelia. Straight from the start, Amelia is the phoenix. As her cousin from outer Venice, now this is evidence, I had experienced childhood summers with Amelia. This is his second allegory. Immediately, he's putting in his metaphors from the start. And right now, the teacher just thinks, oh, this is just a metaphor. But once he starts putting it in the rest of his essay, that's when it becomes an allegory. That's the difference between a metaphor and an allegory. A metaphor is just stating it once. An allegory will repeatedly push that metaphor throughout the rest of the eulogy. So, back to what I was saying. I had experienced childhood summers. All right. You'll notice Isaac uses the seasons of the year as his second allegory. So he starts off with summers with Amelia. But sadly, as the seasons went by, I grew apart from this woman who never stood in the shadows. Now, warmth, summer. I remember summer days. This is just nicely written here, in dresses long like her hair. Now, he ties in at the end, for as the phoenix lights up her path to see where she is heading, her light, summer, radiates so those around her can also see amidst the darkness. Now, that isn't like too hard to write, but if we remove this phoenix thing, her light radiates so those around her can see amidst the darkness. That is a B+. This is an A+, because it's a metaphor that he put in the start, at the start. That is the consistent way that you get this A+ and these A's. The things that were the same amongst these A-level eulogies was this. I can't stress this enough. It's as simple as this, guys. Really is. As time went by and Amelia entered adulthood, the vibrancy and color of the once constantly exuberated girl began to fade, like leaves as summer gives way to autumn. There it is again. Now here is some evidence. This is what I'm talking about, where you have to weave the evidence in with your allegory. For the entirety of her married life, Amelia was unrelenting in her dedication to her husband, much like the phoenix to its master. There it is again, weaving evidence in with your allegory. Now, here's my favorite one. As she was always a woman who put others first, upon seeing Iago's impact on Othello and Cassio, she realized her moral duty to speak out. Now, that's evidence. That's plot points from the book, from your character's perspective, who's reading it. Now, for it is in the greatest hour of darkness that the phoenix takes flight. That was an A+. And I hope you guys see, this isn't like written like Jane Austen or George R. R. Martin, or wasn't written like spectacularly well. But these allegories, tying it in with the evidence, made it the A+. Now, I'm going to show you how to turn your B level, even a C level assignment, and turn it into an A level assignment. Very easily. Very, very easily. So first we need to choose a metaphor. Well, pretty simple. We can look up metaphor list. That's a good one that I found yesterday. Click any of these, to be honest. Oh, I like this one though. Now the key is to be original in your allegory. Now, if you choose the Phoenix and 20 other kids choose the Phoenix and Achilles, then you're not going to get an A or an A plus because it's not original. Now, original doesn't necessarily mean you have to make it up yourself. It needs to be original compared to 230 of your peers. So, let's have a look through here. It is the east and Juliet is the sun. Could maybe choose that as one of your allegories. But what I found here is one here. I really like this one because it's kind of God and clay. We are the clay and you are the potter, and all of us are the work of your hand. I quite like that. So you know what? Let's pop it in. Alrighty. Nice. So clay and you are our potter. Clay is going to be one of my allegories. My second allegory, Achilles. You know what? I'm going to add a third one in because why not? Why not? Let's see if I can do it. Like a hungry panther. I'm going to get this one. Now, the difference between this A1 and this A plus one, see how compact Isaac started his allegories. Very compact from the first introduction, the first lines, brought in his allegory. And Bill's, yeah, it was from the start, but it was very long. It was longer than it needed to be. So I'm going to make it very compact. All right, let's make it compact. Achilles was a man of stupendous fighting prowess, a fabled man, seemingly unstoppable in every battle he laid his feet on. He was unstoppable, except for his heel. Now, how do I bring Panther into this first start here? Like a hungry panther. The Venetian panther. Intelligent and formidable force. Now we want it to be compact, meaning we want to just introduce one allegory at a time to make it clear. Achilles was a man of stupendous fighting prowess, a fabled man, seemingly unstoppable in every battle he laid his feet on. He was unstoppable, except for his heel. Probably turn this into... It's always good to add in a semicolon, just for that grammar mark. Why not? Unfortunately, the grift and treacherous Iago exposed his Achilles heel using Alright, now that's one allegory there. Let's add in the second one. Othello, the Venetian panther, was an intelligent. Better word than silent would be who cares actually? It's not about how well it's written, it's about how well you use these allegories first. You can go back over it again to get these better words. What we're doing here is showing you how to use allegories. So, we need to add in this Venetian panther bit. And now let's add in when spoke these words. Boom. First allegory. Straight away. Second one. Boom. Right next to it. There it is. See, there's one. There's two. And God, the potter and sculptor, will be sculpt me like clay into the man I am today. All right. So I've got three. One, clay. Clay and potter. Two, Achilles. And three, the Venetian panther. Now, what you got to do is you got to remind yourself to try and figure out how you can get these three allegories and put it in and try and like sprinkle them into your paragraphs. All right, clay and potter. Like any There's the good Potter. Achilles, let's see. We've already got Panther in this one. Now we have to find a way to put Achilles in here. Maybe. Exposing his Achilles heel. See how this is pretty badly written? But this will save the day. Now, we've done that first paragraph. Let's go to the second one. Clay and Potter, Achilles, Panther. All right. Othello was a man of great character. He had so much integrity that he saw and everyone else to share. Vandal. Yeah. Breaking. So here's evidence. I was ancillary to you for many years as your lieutenant, and this is how I know. This is how I know for certain of Othello's good character. How do we bring in God in this? I know. How about say, and I saw God. Panther is not really relevant in here, but as long as we add it in once or twice into the conclusion and third paragraph, we should be right. Othello's love for his precious wife. Just to remind us, Hmm. Were the perfect couple, like clay in the hands of a potter, of an elite potter. Simple as that, guys. Evidence, somewhat evidence. Add the allegory, which you've, boom, done over here. Add it again, right over here. Mentioned it, I believe, in this one, maybe. Yep. Like any good potter. Yep, see? And doing it again over here. That's what creates the cohesiveness. Alright, now we've got to look for Panther and Achilles. Oh, we've done Panther. Yeah. Achilles, is there any? How about we try add Achilles into the conclusion instead? Because we've got 3, it's not completely necessary to have it all 3 in every paragraph, just as long as they're like sprinkled enough around them. 2 is probably the best. I'm adding 3 just because I know how poor this writing is because I did it in 30 minutes. That 3 should if done well, has a better chance of saving it, I'm hoping. Man of great talents. No, now let's have done Achilles. Now let's see if we can add Panther in this last one. My brother, General. Panther. Oh, wow, that's simple, really. All right. So, as you can see, we turned an essay that we did in 30 minutes, and we use these allegories, which we showed was the key to getting an A plus an A. We turned our pretty bad assignment into something that teachers will appreciate and mark a lot higher due to using these cohesive allegory tactics. We went from having a disjointed essay to having an essay that felt like it was a whole, like it was like the start complemented the end, like the middle complemented the end as well. And it all came from starting off strong, starting off explaining quickly your allegories, much like Isaac did here, and then sprinkling it in, weaving it into the plot points, and creating an excellent essay out of virtually nothing. So, thank you guys for watching. GT Tutors, Guerrilla Team Tutors. We have the answers. We've got the A pluses. We've got the elite tutors. And we're ready to help. If you're having any problems with creating these allegories in the future, if you're having any problems not understanding exactly what's needed to turn your B into an A, contact Guerrilla Team Tutors and we'll be more than happy to help. Peace.